Up, everyone? Welcome, and yeah. Um, at this point, I'm reading the chat, or I know what's going on. I know what you guys are talking about. Listen, listen. Okay, I myself, I don't look at leaks. I have nothing against people who do. And I know sometimes it's Let's get into game first. It's chat. Oh wait. I'm completely. Oh, this is awkward. A moment, let me fix my camera again. I'm not even wearing the same shirt anymore, man. What the hell? Like, bro, that's probably me watching some NSFW stuff. One of these days, listen, chat. One of these days, this camera, like when I open the camera here, it's just gonna be me like doing some really weird stuff. I'm here. I'm here. I'm fine. One of the days, it's just gonna be me looking like this. And then I get banned, and then that's the end. That's the end of my YouTube journey, just like that. Anyways, yeah, oh, you guys are catching me at all these sus angles. I was not looking for anything sussy here. So yeah, okay. So Alhaitham controversy plus I want to talk a little bit about, because okay, here's the thing, right? I know people ask me for advice and just general advice. Nobody asks me for specific, like really specific stuff, because they know I'm not like the meta guy. I don't indulge myself too much into the meta content and the research published for meta. So people have other sources. When it comes to general advice, this general account advice, I think I'm not a bad person to ask. So uh tribute Asylum says, "Hey worlds, I just got C2 right in this week, won the 50-52. Congrats, that's huge, that's big, right?" And a lot of people say, C2 right is too much, but it feels great, doesn't it? Getting that extra bit of power, just that when you punch harder. When you slice harder. When you eat food, it tastes better. It's like the placebo effect, right? Have you guys ever noticed when you go over to a friend's place or you go anywhere but your own home and you eat something, it always tastes better? The same Snickers bar eaten at your friend's place or eaten, just outside after a meal at a restaurant just tastes better. It's like some sort of placebo. When you get constellations for characters, even if it's like non-essential constellations, but it's like a good bonus to a character that you play, it just feels good, right? It like oftentimes it can feel better than it actually is. Um, but whatever. Yeah. When it comes to leaks, okay, this is the thing. I don't look at leaks, but I'm starting to realize how sometimes when people ask me questions in these very roundabout ways, right? So, you know, I don't know what character reruns are coming in 3.4, but do you guys have any idea how many people have DM'd me asking, is Hu Tao a good character? Is Hu Tao still worth it? Hey, Walrus, I'm just thinking of getting a new DPS. Like, is Hu Tao a good pickup? And coincidentally, 20 people, like give or take, 20 people have asked me about Hu Tao. So, like, am I dense enough to not catch on to why people are asking me about Hu Tao? Or am I just overthinking this? My point is, I personally don't look at leaks, and most people do respect my decision to do so, and they choose to ask me specific questions, and these specific questions just happen to, like, if it's a standalone question, I wouldn't really notice anything, right? If somebody just asked me, one person out of 50 asked me, "Hey Walrus, is Hu Tao a good character?" I wouldn't notice it. But if suddenly 20 plus people are asking me, "Hey Walrus, is Hu Tao a good character to pick up? Do I need her at C1? Is Staff of Homa worth it?" Everybody's asking me about Hu Tao. So, right? Like, I'm just gonna take a wild guess that, is she coming next patch? Is she getting a rerun next patch? That's the thing I'm talking about, leaks and stuff. Although these people didn't leak the fact Hu Tao was coming next, but the collective, the collective movement of people starting to ask these questions made it so that even someone like myself who don't partake in leak consumption, I start to gravitate towards, okay, probably she's getting a rerun next patch. That's why everybody's asking me about this stuff, right? So, it's fine. It's fine. No rules are broken, and it's not really per se a rule. If you guys want to leak stuff to me, like, I'm okay with it. Like I said before, like, people make it feel like I am an absolute no leak man. Like, if I see a single bit of leak, I will block you out. Like, I'm not that intense. I don't actively seek leaks out, and I do turn, like, whenever I see a channel that recommends leaks, I do make sure to not recommend it, just so, like, I can keep myself in my own little bubble. But when it comes from you guys, when it comes from a place of, concern, especially for people who are trying to prepare their account for the future, I'm okay with it. I'm okay, but, like, just make it not so direct. Just, you can DM me. DMing me is probably the easiest way, just asking, like, hey, Walrus, wanna add a new DPS to my account? This is my account. These are my characters. What do you think? Right? Who's a good pickup? Hu Tao's coming next patch. Is she a good pickup for this account? Stuff like that is fine. But if you DM me and be like, yo, Walrus, did you check out Alhaitham's entire kit, including his skill, his passive, like the width of his shoulders and what color underwear he wears and what gym he works out? You get what I mean? That's probably a little too much. But if it's just asking about account advices, I'm fine. Okay? And what's my top anime of 2022? Something that pops into mind. Let's see. Like, I have probably, everybody has recency bias because you can't really remember the stuff you watched half a year, 10 months ago, if you know what I mean. So, like, it's probably going to be some winter lineup. I think Blue Lock has been great. It's been a great watch. Apart from Blue Lock, I haven't, like, I don't really look at new series, like, these really indifferent ones. So if you're expecting me to say a title that's non, what's mainstream, like non-mainstream ones, I don't really know because I'm not that big of an enthusiast to watch that. But I think for now Blue Lock has got to be one of the better ones. Aoashi is good. I've been watching some sports animes. If you guys haven't watched Aoashi, it's like Blue Feet. It's not what it sounds, people. Okay, calm down. The Blue Feet is another football anime, just like Blue Lock. Soccer, football. It's anime. It's a sports anime. I think it was pretty good. It had some nice touch to it. Hey, it's not what it's not what it sounds like. Blue Feet is good. Watch Blue Feet if you enjoyed. It was actually recommended to me by my brother. My brother is a huge anime watcher. He knows a bunch of series. He recommended that to me. He said it's actually a better watch than Blue Lock. So I tried it out. He was right. So remember when I said that I don't mind people asking me about their account advice? So how I found out something about Alhaitham's controversy is that Alhaitham, get this, Alhaitham apparently got nerfed. Okay? Hey. Somebody told me, okay? Somebody was sharing info with me and they said, hey, Walrus, I know you don't look at leaks. I'm not going to spoil his kit or anything, but I'm just telling you, apparently they nerfed Alhaitham in the beta. And people are, listen, I've said this in the past. If you guys watch my videos, I want you guys to step forward now and defend me on this. Did I not say that every time a character gets hyped up, people are like losing their mind over it, they get nerfed? they get nerfed. Chat, how many times have I said this in the past? Like, it's not the first time. It's not. Right? I'm saying every time people go crazy for a character, they get nerfed. And listen, people are saying Jody said he was buffed afterwards though. Listen, this is the controversy. Listen, I need you guys to pay close attention to what I'm about to say right now, because this is some interesting shit. Believe it or not, right? Like, whether you believe what's about to come out of my mouth in the next couple of minutes is up to you, but this is gonna set the groundwork for our conversation today, okay? All right. Here's the thing. When news of Alhaitham getting nerfed was released, do you guys know what happened? Raiden banner sales went up, right? Raiden banner performed even better, right? So here's the thing. Does HoYoverse hype characters up, give them a strong kit, make you skip and wait, save up Primo Gems for this character, and then, right, like about 2 weeks before the character drops, they nerf him. They nerf him. Get it? Huh? Get it? And then you're like, oh my god, he's not that good anymore. Let's just pull on Raiden. Let's get a C2 Raiden. You pull for Raiden, you use your gems, you get Raiden. Then they buff him up a little bit. And then now you're like, what? So, HoYoverse already cashed out on the people who pivoted from Alhaitham to pull on the now a very good banner right now. They do this all the time, people. They do this all the time. It's not once, it's not twice. It seems like this is the tactic. It's gonna happen with Dehya too, or like, I'm pretty sure it's gonna happen with Dehya. Dehya, apart from, I believe, it's either Alhaitham or Dehya as the top 5-star character, apart from Nahida, that people are gunning for in Sumeru, right? At least in the 3.0 to 3.5 Sumeru character rosters. It's either Alhaitham or Dehya. So, at this point, I'm almost willing to bet money on the fact that they're going to do this exact same thing to Dehya as well, to get people excited, get people talking about her, show that she has a good kit, and people saving gems for her. But right as you get close to it, because they know you guys look at leaks, they'll nerf them. They'll nerf them, make you feel like shit. Well, I shouldn't have said that with the whole new YouTube thing, but whatever. They'll make you feel terrible, right? They'll make you feel terrible, and then they'll have a very, very good banner like currently running. For example, let's say next patch Alhaitham comes out, and the patch after that is going to be Dehya, right? And with what you guys have been saying, Hu Tao is coming next patch, and I anticipate Alhaitham is in the first half, Hu Tao's in the second half, because Alhaitham first half, they're not going to let you use the New Year's 10 free pulls on Alhaitham. I just don't think they're going to do that. I've said it in my previous videos. They're not that generous. They're going to make you use your saved gems to pull Alhaitham, and then they'll give you the free gems for Hu Tao. But at the same time, Dehya, if it's teased to be in 3.5, now you have a decision to make, right? You either pulled one of the best, if not the best, Pyro DPS in Hu Tao in 3.4, or you skip her and go for Dehya, who likely will work towards burning inversion compositions, right? So, with that, and they're gonna first tease her to show her that she's really strong. So people are gonna be like, oh yeah, I'm skipping Hu Tao, okay, let's go for Dehya. And then they're gonna nerf her. 2 weeks. They don't give you much time. They'll make you like make split-second decisions. Has to be quick on-the-spot decisions. 2 weeks, maybe a week before the patch drops, they'll nerf her, right? They'll nerf her. And then you're like, oh, wait, do I still want Dehya? But because the time is constantly ticking down, you're just thinking, oh, do I need it? Do I not? Do I need it? Do I not? They put you in this constant state of limbo and self-doubt. That's how HoYoverse operates. They turn you against yourself, and they make you like think. So it's like, and then after you pull, like they'll usually wait a couple of days or a week after most people they're monitoring the banner sales. It might be they might adjust it according to their banner sales. If they see the banner sales suddenly doing well, like, oh, people are pulling for Hu Tao, suddenly, oh, Coincidentally, they nerf Dehya and Hu Tao banners are doing well after they make a couple, dozens of millions or however much they want. They'll then tune Dehya back a little bit. They'll put a little more power because the original character, the original multipliers was never meant to be the final product. It's only supposed to be there for you to save gems for them, for you to feel like, oh my god, this character is so good. Alhaitham, so good. Handsome, built, muscular, husbando, DPS. I'm saving for it. And then, right, because that was never real. That's like the equivalent of their Instagram profile with all photoshopped. Like, not everybody, you get what I mean, right? The what they show you on social media, and then the real deal is just not the same. The whole point of having these characters perform that well was always a marketing ploy to get people to desire these characters even more. It's just adding to their portfolios, right? Just keep throwing glitter on their portfolios. But when they really get you is that week or two before the character arrives or the patch arrives, that nerf, the nerf they hit him with really tests people's understanding of not just like gacha games and their practices, but how well you understand yourself and HoYoverse, the developer, psychologically when they do these kind of mental warfares with you guys. I'm telling you right now that it's not the first time it's happened, it's not the second time, it's not the third time, and it certainly won't be the last time. Every single time, and people still get caught off guard by this. Hiro says, I hope Dehya can be a melt gun you support. I hope Dehya can function without a 4-star support. That's what I hope, Dimas Presentio says overthinking much. The thing is, take it what you will. Do you think I'm overthinking, or you think that HoYoverse has a whole system worked out to maximize profits? Which one do you think is more likely, right? Do you think HoYoverse on a daily basis just wings it and be like, oh well, what rerun should we do next? Who cares? Just eeny, meeny, miny, moe. Pick a character, throw it out there, whatever. Who cares? Nobody cares about reruns, right? Like, nobody cares. HoYoverse is winging it, or they have a team of marketing experts that they hire to make meticulous decisions that makes it very difficult for players to not spend money, right? The goal for HoYoverse is always to, they want to maximize multiple things. They want to maximize free-to-play player satisfaction. But at the same time, they also want to maximize whale spendings. So how do you balance this? If you incentivize whale spendings, then won't free-to-play suffer, because then the game becomes, to justify the spendings, the game has to have reason to spend. Usually it's competition. Usually it's leaderboards competition, right? Competitions. Let's just usually it's competition breeds some sort of toxicity among spenders to spend more money, right? So they want to maximize both of these things, but they cannot compromise on either, right? The key here is they want to maximize free-to-play satisfaction as well as whale spending. But they cannot compromise. They cannot say well, we want whales to spend more, so just screw the free-to-plays. They can't do that, right? So right now, currently, we're in a state where HoYoverse has actually found a very crucial balance in how they want to operate this. And if you think they reach this state, right? Where's the dude? Dimas, if you think they reach this state completely randomly without thinking about it at all, and they just randomly throw stuff out arbitrarily, the decision to not have endgame content, the decision to not to nerf 4-star characters, right, since patch 1.0, if you think all of this stuff was done randomly, just be casually HoYoverse throwing stuff out, the decision to pivot metas, the decision to release Kazuha the time they did, and then just happen to change Abyss to have it not favor Venti after. You think if you think that is all coincidental. We must be living in like the golden timeline, like the golden timeline where at this rate, Hoyoverse through sheer luck will just take over the world. Right? The thing is, if you look at what Hoyoverse has done, everything has a reason behind it. It's not always money driven, although money plays a big role. Being profitable is important for Hoyoverse. Of course it is, right? But surprisingly, I'll tell you guys this much. If you go analyze every decision, major and minor, that Hoyoverse has done for the game, you would be surprised how much of it was not fully monetary driven. I don't have the time to sit here and weave through all of it with you guys, but if you guys want, maybe I'll make videos in the future talking about it. But, you know, a lot of this stuff is retrospective, meaning that I could only look at it after it has happened for me to come to this conclusion. But the more that I look at it, the more that I study how Hoyoverse makes changes and what kind of decisions they oftentimes derive at, I can actually, like, that's why I would like to think I'm pretty accurate when it comes to predicting Hoyoverse, because a lot of people, it's not enough just to think of them as money mongering, hungry developers. It's not that simple. If it was that simple, nobody would ever struggle in terms of these kind of gacha games. But what I'm telling you right now is that Hoyoverse they're trickier than you think, but they also have a formula that they operate off of. And that formula is developed likely by a team of people whose entire job it is to come up with these formulas. And I said earlier, one of the things that they do is play this game with you guys where they make you think like you're looking at leaks, but you're really looking at exactly what they want you to look at. Okay? And since they have all the data for you guys when you pull banners for Raiden banner and everything, they know exactly how much you guys are spending, how much gem. You know what's scary is they know exactly how many gems you have left. You guys understand what I'm saying? It's not scary that they know how much you're spending. It's scary that they know how much you still have left to spend. Right? And everyone has a limit. Everyone has something inside of them, like your floor price or your ceiling price. Listen, I sell homes for a living. I'm a real estate agent, okay? When it comes to sales, no, like, you know, for example, if I were to represent you, you're my buyer, right? I represent you. I'm going to help you buy a house. When we go look at a house and you find a house that you like, that's your dream house, right? You're like, Walrus, I love that house. I want that house. I want you to get that house for me. I'm going to have to ask you, okay, so what are we working with? How much are you willing to spend on that property? They're asking price. For the sake of this example, let's keep it simple. They're asking for $1,000, right? For that house. They want $1,000. And you tell me, Walrus, the best I can do is $950. That's as much as I can give. Now it's my job to work out the psychology of the seller. It's a rule amongst real estate agents that we never get to meet the seller personally. Because if I get to sit down, just give me 5 minutes with the seller. Just give me 5 minutes with the seller. I will likely work out exactly how much they're willing to sell that house for, like their bottom price. Everyone has a bottom price and everybody has a ceiling price. So the floor and the goal is to not reach my client's ceiling. So my client told me $950 was their ceiling. They cannot go past $950. And now the floor, they're asking for $1,000, but the floor of their actual inside their heart, $1,000 is their ideal price, right? But the floor likely is like $920. I'm just giving rough examples. That's how this always works. It's always something like this. So my goal is, how am I going to figure out the floor price of the seller to save my client as much money as I can, so I don't want to reach their ceiling? They told me their ceiling is $950. I want to get it below that. That's how in the future this client will come back and work with me again, right? I save them, in this case, maybe $20, $30. So This is a constant battle. Constant battle. So that's why I don't get to meet the seller. Very rare that I get to meet the seller. But if I do, oftentimes it's a huge advantage when it's time for us to write in a contract, an offer contract to buy the property. If I met the seller and I've spoken with the seller, oftentimes I'll try to work out, okay, their floor price is around here. And you have to cross-reference that with the market, because a lot of people just list homes with a headroom according to the market. I know this is not Genshin related, and some of you guys might be hella confused. That's what I'm saying. But like, just understand this whole thing. It's everywhere. It's in real estate. Like, if you guys want to practice this, listen, if you guys want to practice this, go. I don't know where you guys are from, but if you guys have these marketplaces, you know, those street vendors where they haggle price with you. For example, you can go, you buy like something, and then you say, oh, if I buy 5 of them, can you give me a discount for? Go practice with that, right? Go practice with that, because all the times real estate is just more formal. And it's like more legal jargon. You write up a formal contract. Genshin Impact is much more transparent. For HoYoverse, that is, not for you. For you, you don't get to know anything. HoYoverse knows everything. Like, that's what I'm telling you. Do you guys understand how dangerous it is for HoYoverse to know both your ceiling and your floor? That's how dangerous it is. Like, I cannot stress how ridiculous of a situation. Like, you are royally effed if you go into any sort of transaction and the opposition knows both your ceiling and your floor, meaning that they know the minimum amount that you can, like, you're willing to put in, and the maximum amount that you're capable of putting in. Once they know this, like, you're like meat on a chopping board for these people. And especially when it comes to HoYoverse, who has like teams of professionals to analyze the data and consumer psychology. I'm telling you guys, if you sit there and think that this is all just HoYoverse winging it, maybe you can try starting a business. You know, I'm just saying. If you think winging it can get you this far as HoYoverse has gotten, you know, you might be a genius. Like, you might be like a billionaire in the making already, right? Who's the ultimate negotiator in Genshin? I don't know who's the ultimate negotiator. Maybe Tartaglia? I don't know. I think Tartaglia will just throw money at anything. But Yanfei is supposedly the legal go-to. I I think in terms of what HoYoverse has done, it's great. It's great. They actually have taken sides for both player base. For the hardcore whales, they've given you strong enough vertical progression, but at the same time, they have failed to give the whales a reason to use the C6. But listen, chat. Here's my question to you guys now, okay? If there were any content where C6 characters are justified, how the hell would free-to-players ever play that mode? Like, that's my question. Like, if there's any bit of content in the game where C6 characters are justified, be like, oh, I need this C6. Like, oh, this C6 feels like it's coming into use. Oh my goodness. How in the hell are free-to-players going to not even compete? Like even if that content exists and they make it non-competitive, you're essentially gating free-to-plays out of that content. That piece of content don't exist for free-to-plays. It only exists for the whales, right? So, and they don't make it competitive because free-to-plays can't even compete. So, how is that going to work? How can that work? Can that work? Can HoYoverse do that? Right? Like, you know, it's right. If you start asking this question, then doesn't it become evidently clear that it's a lose-lose for HoYoverse? They can't really go ahead and make C6 characters justified. They can't. If C6 characters are justified, then by that metric, free-to-plays are just gonna get gutted in that new game mode. So here's my thought. because they have all the metadata, they know most free to plays cannot. They know most free to plays cannot partake in that form of content just yet, right? Just yet. Given maybe 3-4 more years. I mean, right now, I know free to plays who are close to C6 limited characters. With 1 or 2 more reruns, some free to plays are going to C6 their first limited banner character. Some free to plays already have, but they only have that one character. And it's a very old character. Like, I'm sure there are free to plays who likely have C6 Tartaglia at this point. The man has had, what, 4 reruns? Or something like that? It's not crazy to think of. And yes, the gems that have been given to you is enough to C6 like one character. But give it 2-3 more years, most people, even if you are building your account horizontally, likely have high constellations. In terms of Raiden Shogun, if you have a C2 or C3 Raiden, you're dealing damage similar to C6 characters. So you are C6 competitive in that sense, right? If you have a C2, C3 Raiden, you are on par with certain C6 characters. So by that metric, there's going to be a lot of free-to-plays even who likely has a C2 or C3 Raiden give 2 or 3 more years. So once Hoyoverse see, okay, 70% of our player base has this power accessible to them now, maybe now we'll start to justify releasing this content. But again, another thing is when you release hard or difficult content, people don't want to do it. People don't want to bother. A lot of people, as Hoyoverse has put it, refuse to do Spiral Abyss, right? So, right? It's just Hoyoverse deems it not worthwhile. And I am willing to bet that for some odd reason, I'm sure Hoyoverse knows why, but I sure as hell don't, people are still going for C6 R5 characters. I mean, some of your favorite content creators have stopped a couple patches ago. Like, for example, Tectone, MTash stopped after like 1 or 2 patches. Stopped Giga whaling. But people like Ten, I don't know. I don't watch them, but I feel like Tenha still C6 R5 every single character, does he not? Tenha, I think I Win to Lose still do it every single patch. I'm sure if it's Tony 2 still uploading. Tony Toe, Tony 2, right? Like, there are some content creators. I know there's like some smaller content creators who also C6 R5 every character. They still do it. Right? They the money's still flowing. Hoyoverse sees that. They don't need it. Like, Asian guy, does Asian guy C6 R5 every character? X-Slice still C6. Yeah, so like you see a lot of these content creators, they're still doing it because for them that's content. And in that sense, it's showing other people the power of these characters, and I'm sure there's a lot of invisible whales who still do it. Like, I'm pretty confident in saying that it's less than before, but I don't think it's that big of a difference to the point where Hoyoverse needs to feel like, oh, we need to get whales to start spending again. I'm sure they're still spending, right? So Kisa Polar says, and I still buy Welkin every month. Yeah, I pretty much only buy Welkin nowadays. I don't buy the BP. Like, there's no need. I don't need to progress through the game that fast. I have more than enough characters I will ever need in this game. In fact, on the topic of controversies, well, this is not really controversies. I might be skipping Alhaitham because I know I said this for Nilu, but when it comes to Alhaitham, I just can't, like, there's nowhere in me do I feel like this character is going to be that different. Okay? Nilu offered a unique playstyle at the very least and I wanted to see Nilu synergize with Nahida. But when it comes to Alhaitham, I can't see a way where he just feels spectacular. And it's not even about being spectacular. It's just being different, being a new unit. Right? I think he's going to be a Dendro option to someone like what's his name, Tignari. Anissa says, so you will do viewer account. Yes, I'll likely borrow a viewer's account just to test him and see how he performs. I know a couple people who are planning to level 90 him on release, which is fine, right? I'll try it out, see what he's about, and I don't think I'm gonna be impressed, to be honest, because what can they do? What can Hoyoverse possibly do to this character that makes him feel worth it? I don't think they can do anything to this character without power creeping or releasing another busted character in the form of Nahida. So I think Hoyoverse is really just relying on his character to sell, meaning like, oh, buff husbando, muscular husbando. That's his selling point. His kit is going to be likely average, like playable, fine. But apart from that, he's gonna do green damage. You know, I think he's going to be an option. I think he's going to be a great DPS option for people who want to build Dendro DPS and don't want to play Tignari. I think he's going to be fine. But is he going to be like spectacular? I don't think so. He's going to do a different color of damage from other people who deal other colors of damage. Right, so Matthias Villanova says the sad reality is that we need a little of power creep. The thing is, the power creep has already happened. It happened back in 1.1.2, 1.3. that's our power creep. Ooh. That's our power creep, people. Oh, Hannah, what are you doing? Yeah, Ganyu and Tao were the most power creep we've had. Togekill is right. At the time, we didn't notice it because we just didn't have that many powerful characters. But the power creep has already happened. Because right now, if you are asking for power creep, you can't by power creeping Tignari, you ain't power creeping anything. The real power creep is if you can power creep Hu Tao, like a C0 Ganyu, C0 Hu Tao, C0 Ayaka, that's power creep. The power creep is in the constellations. Yeah, in a way it is. I think the newer characters have much better constellations than the old ones. Woo! Technovirus says Tignari is just a quick swap unit. Alhaitham will like. It's the same thing. it's the same thing. I don't, because what I mean by that is he's likely gonna be an aggravate Hyper Bloom, maybe, right? Unless, listen, the only reason I'll pull him is if somehow it's proven to be like, okay, he's gonna be an integral part of burning Dehya, right? Oh, spread. Like the only way that I think I'll be moved or incentivized to pull him is if he synergizes well with Dehya. Which I think if Hoyoverse is smart, they should make it so that he synergizes well with Dehya. July Wave is asking, why is Dehya going to be burning focused? I don't know. But I cannot imagine them not making Dehya burning and Burgeon focus. Because if they make Dehya a traditional pyro character, she would directly compete with someone like either Xiangling or Hu Tao. And I don't see them power creeping Xiangling or Hu Tao at all. At all. It's just impossible. I don't see it. It's impossible. There's no way. I don't think, at this point, I don't think they even want another pyro character to do better than Yoimiya in the same category. It's not happening. It is not happening, people. She is likely going to be a Burning and Virgin centric character, first of its kind. And that's going to be that. I think she's going to be very average because she's popular. There needs to be a graph. The power of nowadays a new 5-star character come out is their power should be direct. It's an inverse proportion to their popularity. So the more popular a character becomes, the weaker they are going to be at C0. Okay? Listen, people. If you think Dehya is the exception to this rule has been like Archons and Ayaka. But the more popular a character has been, the weaker they have been on release. It's like at least they're C0 because Hoyoverse is banking on the fact that okay, if you like this character so much, then pull for their constellations. They have low-hanging fruits that can fix their problems. But you gotta go C1 or C2. Or you want to get C1 plus their weapon. Stuff like that. So I wouldn't count on Dehya being spectacular. Right? I wouldn't count on it, but at the same time, do I want her to be amazing? Of course I do. Of course I do. Yeah, Scaramouche is a great example of a character that kind of got shafted pretty bad. Marcus Bullock says the least popular, the more broken. They are wanting to check that. Well, the thing is, when a character is not that popular, there's very little marketing driving sales. So what did they have to do to make these characters desirable? Well, you got to make them good, make them strong, make them powerful. I think Tignari is a great example. Is he not only was not that exciting of a character when he was first teased, but he also got put on the standard banner. But look how good of a character he is. He's pretty well rounded. He's a great solid DPS option. He's a quick swap option. He does amazing damage with low investment. Has great free to play weapon options. Right? Yeah, and look at Kazuha. When Kazuha first came out, who gave like a damn about Kazuha when he first came out? Nobody cared. That's why so many people skipped him the first time. Like it's happened in the past, people. Look at stuff like Ito. Ito was not that crazy of a character. In fact, when he first came out, because of his character model, people hard skipped him. People were like, nah, I'm good. I'm not touching this character. People hard skipped him. Look at him now. Right? One of the best solid hyper carry options. In fact, is he the best at C0? Yeah, I think Ito is probably the best hyper carry at C0 and C6. So it's just like, this happens all the time. Drip says, I doubt they make future Harbingers weak. The thing is, when it comes to Harbingers, are they going to treat Harbinger kind of like Archons, right? So think of Archons as like the best, and maybe Harbingers are a tier below Archons, meaning they're going to be strong characters regardless because they have this class to them, right? So think of tier lists be like Archon tier list, Harbinger tier list, and then all the other characters. Because in the future, let's say if they're a Harbinger or an Archon, they're going to perform very well. They're going to do well, for example. Which I think I could see that happening. I can see Harbinger as like a alternative bit to Archon tier. Paul Allen says the 5 best characters in the game are Kazuha, Yelan, Raiden, Zhongli, Ganyu. I think Kazuha, Raiden, Zhongli. I think Nahida should be in there somewhere. I think Nahida is probably better than both Yelan and Ganyu, even at C0, especially at C0. I think Yelan probably slightly better than Ganyu. So I think the top 5 in order might be Kazuha, Raiden, Nahida, Zhongli, Yelan. Probably like that. Something like that. The HV cases, I love Ganyu too, but if we're making a best list, Venti must be on it too. No, Venti is not on that list, my friend. Venti doesn't even crack top 10. Okay. I'm glad somebody brought up Venti again because I can't wait to talk about this with you guys. It's tragic. It truly is. It brings me no joy to talk about this, but I've received new data from my source here. Apparently people have been tallying the data here. So now not only, look, the stats are amazing, by the way. I gotta show you guys this. I gotta show you guys this because if I show you guys this, then you guys can feel the pain with me at how bad, because every time I talked about this, you guys, like, not you guys, but like people call me out saying like, oh, you know, you're just being cringe, Walrus. It's not true. It's, well, we'll see. Right? I never worked with this data before, but now that I see it, it just highlights more of what I've been saying when it comes to Venti and how shafted he is. Ah, here it is. In a sense, you have activated my trap card. Okay, people. Do you guys see this? Okay, I gotta put her down because she is starting to get restless. I think I'm heating up. Oh no! Okay, say bye to chat. Say bye to chat. Say bye to chat. Oh, hello. Goodbye. Goodbye. Go play. Go play. Oh, Jabba. No. 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 Okay. So these are tallied by Chinese players. So it actually has a lot of that. I think it was like 70,000 players, which, yeah, like comparatively, it's not a lot compared to the minute. But imagine 70,000 plus players, but how many people actually played the Abyss? So the data is actually pretty intense here. So I'm going to tell you guys what each of this says. So this obviously, this says character. This says the times that they were used, right? This is the number of the amount of people who owns these characters. Okay? The number of times they're used, the amount of people who owns these characters, the owned percentage. Now, this percentage means the amount of people who owns this character who participated in this study or whatever, this who in this data, okay? And this is the owned percentage. Fischl as a character, so for example, Fischl, 99.9% of the people who participated in this data study owned Fischl, but her usage rate was only 10%. All right? So, the best characters are characters who has a great usage rate with a decent to good own rate. A pretty insane metric would be if they have very few people have them, but they have a very high usage rate. Does this make sense? Does this make sense? So, for example, looking at this one, Jean has an 82% own rate, meaning 82% of the people own Jean, but she was only used 5.4% of the time. Okay? Trash. Sucrose, 97.9% own rate, 4% usage rate. Trash. Kali, only 25.6% of the people who participated in this owned Kali. 3.3% usage rate. Trash, but you know who's even more trash? Diluc, who has an 82% own rate with a 1% usage. Trash. Toma 98.3% own rate, 0.7% usage rate. That is abysmal. This is insane as well. How can you have what, like, everyone who participated owned Kole, obviously. 2.1%. You know, actually, better than Toma. Better than Diluc. Roughly, I think around the same as Diluc. I mean, it's a Dendro meta, right? So it's fine. It's stuff like that. All right. Eula, 21.3%, 7.3 usage rate. Not too bad, okay? Like, not good. Obviously not good, but not too bad. Could have been worse, right? Could have been worse. Let's be honest. So Shenhe, right? You see, this is an example of a character. Only 16.4% of the people owned it, but 25.6% usage rate. You guys start seeing, right? That's a pretty good character. Yeah. Look, like, not that many people owned her, but her usage rate was really high. So, by that metric, we can now look at some of these other characters, right? Ito, solid character. Sino, solid character, right? 24% owned, 31.4 used, 20% owned, 35% used. And then we see Zhao, 34% owned, so more than both of these characters, but roughly around half of Sino, right? Like, people aren't really using him. We got Keqing, 82% owned, 7.6% usage rate. Not that good. Right? So, I'm just telling you guys. Albedo somehow is is a Giga Chad. 23.2%, 22.8%. And it makes sense because Ito has a pretty high usage rate. Ito has a 31.4% usage rate, right? 24.6, 23.2. The own rate of these two characters are actually very similar, but Ito has a higher usage rate than Albedo, which means likely there are people who are running Ito without Albedo. Right? So Albedo is actually like a sleeper as well, in my opinion. I didn't think Albedo was going to be this high. Now moving down, your favorite Archon. Who was it that said Venti? Venti is top 5. My man Venti. Out of all the players who participated, 57.9% of the people owns Venti. But he was used 7.8% of the time. Right? Now, I know this is an isolated study. Ooh. Princess Peaches, Chi-Chi has a higher usage rate than Diluc. Oops. Yeah, like, I don't know why, but people in CN, this is a CN study, right? This is a CN study. So it's a patch 3.3 study, so it's very recent. It's a CN study, but people really don't like it. I think it's because there's too many DPS options. There's just too many. There's too many. So, like, it's only natural that people gravitate to better options. But when it comes to cryo healers, not that many to choose from. Like, I mean, it's not like you really need cryo healers to begin with, but yeah. Shivari says, where can I look this up at? I don't remember. Actually, this is not even from me. This is a WeChat thing. If you guys know what WeChat is it's like a Chinese app, and apparently there are people who track this stuff in WeChat. It's not. I don't think it's a public website. It's like a phone app, it's like WhatsApp but for Chinese people. It's huge in China. It's called 提瓦特小助手, meaning like Teyvat helper. Maybe it's like a little mini app within WeChat. So yeah. Tignari, 41.2, 11%. Better than Venti. Right? By metric, Tignari is better than Venti. Albedo is better than Venti. Venti is better than Keqing though. Hey. Round of applause. Venti beats Kaching. Let's just give him that much. So we looked at these. So okay. Now the true Archon. So we have the Pyro Archon, Bennett, 99.9, 89.6. Come on, guys. Round of applause. Here's our top performers. Here's the top performers, right? We got Zhongli, 90.7, 85.8. Kazuha. Oh, the Anemo Archon. The Anemo Archon Kazuha, 83.7. So there's more people owns Kazuha than Venti at this point. Right? Yeah. Surprise, no one. It's just Kazuha has a high, like 30% higher own rate than Venti does, and like 10 times the usage rate. Raiden Shogun has 84.1, 72.1, and Xingqiu, obviously insane character. So these are all the top characters. Like, these are the characters that I've been hyping up for quite a while now. Yet every time I hype these characters up, people have an issue with me. But, you know, it's whatever. Data shows, for example, Yelan. People keep saying I overrate Yelan, but look at this. Only less than half the people owns her, but she has a 71.4% usage rate. Is that a coincidence? Right? People just love her pose. Maybe. You know, maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. Ayaka actually cracked the pretty high here with 63.2 with 37.3. Okay, cool. Kokomi, not too surprising, 50.8. Only half the people owns her, 73.6. Our favorite 4-star character, 100% own rate, 55.1% usage rate. I'm just baffled, man. Like, at this point, how can people argue against the strength of some of these characters here? It's just unbelievable. I swear, next time Venti's making a rerun, and if somebody freaking leaves a comment saying like, oh, Venti is insane, he's just as good as the other Archons, you just got to know how to play him. Well, obviously, it's not just about how you play him. Because nobody wants to play him. I've highlighted why Venti is a bad pick. It's not that his kit is weak. It's that his kit is incredibly annoying to use. What about Ganyu? Here's Hu Tao and Ganyu right here. Nilu is here as well. Yoimiya is here as well. You see, Yoimiya and Hu Tao isn't as far apart as people think. A lot of people always memed on me. This is the same. Like, I can open the video that when I said I believe Yoimiya and Hu Tao are actually similar in standings. Data backs up. Listen, I may not have the data to back up what I say, but I'm fairly close. Because if you just play these characters, just actually play these characters, don't. Because, listen, theory crafters, these people, like, I'm not calling them out or anything, but they need views. They need clicks, right? So when these characters rolls around, it depends on what character. They have to hype them up. They have to show insane numbers. Like, people like I Win to Lose, they contribute, like, massive amounts of information to the player base. And I end up having to deal with people coming to me when I try to say, like, you know what, Yoimiya and Hu Tao aren't as far apart as you guys think they are. Yes, Hu Tao is probably slightly better, but Yoimiya isn't, like, trash tier, but people want her to be. People want Yoimiya to be bad, like, unplayable in comparison to Hu Tao. She really isn't. Is she annoying to use and construct teams around? Back then, yeah, but nowadays, she's just gotten a lot better. And it's not like Hu Tao is a walk in the park either. There are people who refuse to play Hu Tao because they don't want to animation cancel. They hate how you have to play around like below half health. It's just annoying to deal with these kind of things. So it's really give and take what you prefer. I'm telling you guys, actually seeing this data makes me feel a lot better about myself. Scaramouche 33.8, 34.2, actually pretty solid, pretty decent usage and own rate. Ayato 32.9, 36, so by that metric, Ayato is a better character than Scaramouche. Yeah, Miko's gotten a lot better, 36.8, 34.3. You see, these numbers reflect these middle of the pack characters. You guys feel this too. You guys find, oh, they're very mid. Like, yeah, they are. They're very middle of the pack. It's reflected. It's reflected in the data. 59.7 with a 21.8 usage rate for Faruzan. I think a lot of that is attributed to Scaramouche, but I think a lot, like you guys see, this is lower than Scaramouche, which makes me wonder what the hell are people playing their Scaramouches with, because that means there are a ton of people, not a ton, like there's a decent amount of people who are doing runs without Faruzan on their team. You know, if you know, you know. By this metric, Hu Tao is just as mid as Scaramouche. But then again, I think the Abyss right now, the Abyss just refreshed again. Does it still favor Scaramouche? I forgot. But you know, right? These are Rosaria 90. Yeah, these are some really yikes characters. Like, with exception to Shinhe, she has a very low own rate because you would only pull Shinhe if you play Cryo, right? So she has a fairly low own rate, but usage rate pretty impressive, 25.6%. Better than Faruzan. Well, I mean, Faruzan's a 4-star, but yeah, you guys know what I mean. Eula, so arguably some of the worst limited banner 5-stars are Eula and Klee right now, and Venti. Venti, limited 5-stars, right? Venti, anything under double digits, I consider just bad. So Mona, I mean, oh my god, people are using Mona more. People are Kaching and Venti has the similar usage rate. Come on, guys. Like, really? Really? Like, we were really still here defending Venti? I wonder how much longer people can defend this character, though. I get it. He's an Archon. He's cool. He's the first Archon that we picked up. It's not the character. It's a player. Like, whatever you guys want to say, right? I understand. It's not like, if I wanted to make Venti work, I could make Venti work, but it's gonna take a lot of effort. I'm gonna have to rerun, get the perfect lineup, get the perfect rotations. It puts a lot more onus back onto me, the player, to play the character to his full potential. But why do I want to do that when I can just use another? You know what I mean? It's not like we don't have other options, better options. We gotta stop defending Venti, okay? Let the man pass. Just let him pass. Stop holding on to him. Stop having these residual feelings. We have to just let him go, man. Just let him go. He served his purpose. Was the game not a walk in the park? Was the game not fun for 1.0 all the way to 1.6? Was it not? Come on, let's be honest here. It was. Venti made the game so much easier, and it made compositions much easier to construct. It made synergies much easier to pull off. It made mobs pretty much non-existent. It helped us clear Abyss with the simple press of a couple buttons. Right? But the man has to pass on now. Until Abyss versions that come back that favors him, he's always just gonna sit around at like maybe 5 to 7%. I don't think he's ever gonna even break 10%. Technical usage rate does not mean that a unit is meta. Well, it kind of does, right? A certain usage rate, like, for example, we can't say that usage rate doesn't matter, because it does. Usage rate is an indication of how easy it is to make that character work, right? Or how impactful a character is. I think usage rate is a great reflection of ease of use with a combination of strength. So the easier they are to use and the stronger they are, right? If they're easy to use and they're strong, then they'll have a high usage rate. If they're difficult to use, but they're really strong, they might have a middle of the pack rating. But if they are hard to use and they're not that strong, then they'll have a low usage rate. People aren't stupid, right? we can't nitpick and take out one or two people who are like, oh, but this guy plays, Toma DPS and he crushes Abyss. Yeah, but that's one guy. And that's just one guy. It's a case, I think it's gotten to the point where Venti and some of these more like Eula, you almost never see people really going hard on with Eula. Right? It's just people are here. Nobody, like, okay, I gotta stop saying nobody, because yes, somebody is, but the vast majority of players are doing the Abyss to clear the content for the gems. They're not here to savor. If they want, they can come back. Once they finish and clear the Abyss, they can come back with another team and try things out. Huanglei gifting 5 memberships. Thank you, Huanglei. Let's see who got it this time. We got Jello Impact. We got Chio Latte, or Chio Late, him, July Wave, and Nebula 77. Congratulations, everyone. Welcome to the Tusk Gang, and thank you, Huanglei. It's always nice to have you pop in here. How was your New Year? How was it? Did you celebrate? I hope you did. I hope everybody celebrated. I hope everybody had a good New Year's. Because you guys deserved it. We all deserve some days off. I don't know what 2022 was, but it zipped by like a flash. It just went whoop and gone. Huanglei says, I got drunk. Sounds like a great way to pass into the new year. If you didn't get drunk and wasted, if you don't have a blackout, okay, maybe I shouldn't advocate excessive drinking, but you got my point. Celebrate a little, have fun. Especially during these times, it's great that people still take time for themselves. People, take time for yourselves. Enjoy life. Trust me, it goes by way faster than you guys think it does. Way, way, way faster. Before you know it, you'll be 30. Before you know it, you'll be 50. Before you know it, you'll be 70. And before you know it, you got 1 foot in the grave. You will be visiting Wangshin Funeral Parlor sooner than you think, people. All right? Sooner than you think. Of course, Hu Tao will always be there with buy one, get one free coupon. So, Togakill says she's too niche. Nah, you just don't want to admit Cryo and Freeze is great, making sure absolutely meta. Yeah, you know why Cryo, like Freeze meta, is so relied upon? Because it's easy. It's so damn easy. Elemental gauge theory and all that crap and stuff with the like. There are certain compositions that are just annoying to make work. You got to study it, or you at least have to have a very rudimentary understanding of rotations. Freeze doesn't give a damn. You slap Cryo, you slap Hydro, it's done. It's so damn simple and straightforward. That's why, like, it's easy. People, like I said, most people want the most efficient way to clear and get their gems and get the hell out. Nobody wants to, again, I said nobody. Most people don't want to linger in the abyss for fun, right? Most people are just there for the gems. Just admit it. There are people who are in there to have fun, test out team comps. But truth be told, the vast majority of us are just in there for the gems. Get in, get out. So why would you not use the most efficient method possible to just get the job done, right? So, I mean, sure, once you get the gems, you can always go back and try out compositions and see, oh, how does this feel? How does that feel? But your first run, the run that you want 36 stars or the best run you can possibly do, will revolve around efficient compositions. Lord of Slots says, I don't care about 36 stars most of the time. I just get like 32. Yeah, like, just bring a strong team in, crush through whatever you can, and call it a day. Just dust your hand and move on. It really isn't like, it really isn't as complex as people make it out to be. But it isn't as easy as others also make it out to be. The truth is always somewhere in between. Damn, I love that line. There are people who would tell you that Abyss is so easy they can beat it with their toes, like eyes closed, playing with their toes, playing level 1 characters or something, or at least they'll try to lead you to believe that. And others, there will be others who will tell you even if they like take out a role, they still struggle to clear with like a full team of C6 R5s. You know, it's like at this point I don't know which side is memeing harder, or if like I'm too scared to even think, are they memeing or are they are they being serious? I sure hope they're both memeing, but Huang Lei says I was 36 once and then I just don't try anymore. Yeah, for the longest time I stopped trying the 36 star. I think for a good year or year and a half. But ever since the Dendro meta came around, I think I tried a... Where's Jabba? Jabba! Hey! Hey! No. No. She went to go steal her siblings' leftovers. Yeah, when it is too quiet, yeah, because she was just out, she was laying here and chilling, but suddenly she disappeared. Whew. Yeah, she was stealing the cat's food. And when I called her, she was like, and immediately she got on her back and she was like, I know what you up to, girl. I know what you up to. But yeah, speaking of Abyss, it really just is that first time you clear it, you feel amazing though. Like let's all admit it. If you guys have 36 started, the first time that you did it, it feels amazing. I still remember the first time I did it. It was with the Kaching team. And this was before the Dendro meta. It was with the Kaching team. Venti actually was still around. It's like, to be honest, it's not brag worthy because on one half I was running Kaching, Electro DPS Kaching. On the other half I was running Morgana. So it really isn't anything to write home about. It wasn't impressive at all. I like the second half with Morgana, I pressed 3 buttons and the room was done in like 30 seconds or less. Kaching team usually took about a minute and a half. So Creedell says I beat Abyss every cycle, and when I don't have anything else to do, I just keep clearing with every team I got. It's not hard at all. With a half-built national team on one side, you can do it. I think to clear the Abyss has become very, very easy. Hoyoverse hasn't really put in any restrictions, or they haven't risen the difficulty level to the point where people would just be like, they just start seizing when they go into the Abyss. But at the same time, it ain't a walk in the park for most people. Like I keep saying, you guys probably don't keep, like, you guys don't pay attention to this as much as content creators do. But Genshin Impact is recycling players at a fairly decent pace. Can I get a 1 in the chat for anybody who has come across any form of Genshin Impact ad within the last 24 hours? Let's do 24 hours, because I think a week is too long. In the last 24 hours, how many people in chat has come across a Genshin Impact ad somewhere? Like YouTube, or in other games that you play, or Reddit, or like just on website. In the last 24 hours. Yeah. Granted, this is a little biased. You know why? Because the people are running smart ads, especially for Google ad services. So you guys are all falling within the demographic with people in who are like likely to play games such as Genshin Impact, obviously, because you guys already do. So Rodats, welcome, my friend. Welcome to the Bronze Tusk. So yeah, so like, but my point here is Genshin is actually fairly aggressive with running their ads. They run all form of different apps. They run the cringe ads, they run the pop-up ads, they run the non-skippable ads, they run the skippable ads, they run all forms of ads. In fact, I I don't know how much money Hoyoverse is spending on running these ads, but I'm willing to say it's probably in the millions, which isn't a lot of money when it comes to companies running ads for their games. But Akira says I use AdBlock so I don't get any. But like if you play any games on your phone, if you play any of those like mobile games, idle games, whatever games you play, you actually will run into Genshin ads here and there. Of course, you also run into a lot of those dumbass slot machine ads. But my point is, Genshin dumps a lot of money on ads. Why? Because they need to recycle players. They are recycling players. They need to replace the people who quit. I don't know about you guys, but I think there's a decent amount. I would say maybe 5% of the players who do come in and play Genshin quit in like a month or so. Right? Genshin, even with a game like Genshin that requires little to no commitment, the arduous task of going from a fresh account to catching up with everybody else in terms of the Archon quest, in terms of character progression, in terms of artifact quality, it's actually quite a long grind, right? So, especially if people who want some sort of community-driven content, let's say they really enjoy playing games when their friends are playing or when they get to talk to other people, interact with other people, they want to be a part of a community, and they don't find anything within about like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, there's really nothing keeping them around. Like, sure, you want to log in and do your commissions after about a month, and that's only if you try hard to push through all the content. If you're just navigating this all by yourself, being like, whoa, like what is going on, everything here and there, then like you probably can play this game for 3-4 months just taking it slow, right? If you watch all the guides and you just speed through everything, I think a month you'll probably reach end game. Right, give or take a month. I think right now is not too unreasonable for a try hard to reach end game. If you want to be a giga whale, you come in, you want to spend and blitz through everything, you can probably reach end game in about like 2-3 weeks, maybe even less than that. Yeah. 2023 will be year of MMORPGs, Blue Protocol, Dragon Sword, DN sequel, Seal, M, and Ragnarok 5 Global. Yeah, I mean, MMO genre has really dried up. I'm wanting to say. You guys know why I think the MMO genre likely will never return to its glory days is because the new generation of gamers, they don't have the patience to grind out the content, which means that MMOs really lost a lot of its soul in that it's not really so much of an adventure anymore. It's more so like it's more become like a log in, claim your daily reward, and just do all your dailies and log off. It's really adapted a more mobile game esque kind of thing, whereas like these big challenging raids or these community driven events just don't perform as well as they used to because people have become more reclusive. They don't want to sit in the chat room with people for 2 hours trying to clear a raid. For the most part, they want to keep to themselves. And even when you have to work with other people, we're constantly at each other's throats. It's like people don't have the patience anymore. They don't bother sitting there teaching somebody who didn't watch a YouTube guide video about the mechanics of the boss. So you just end up in the situation where rooms and requirements are either like you have to have a minimum gear requirement, like whales, right? Like whale rooms or whale guilds. I mean, they existed back in the day as well, but nowadays it's like, oh, if you don't have this combat score, you're like MMOs have just devolved into this quick cash grab situation, right? So, and it's not really to blame technology, but it's just like people don't have that attention span to play that type of games anymore. So that's why the MMO genre has taken such a huge hit. And the worst part is the people who do want to play that type of MMOs, they don't have the time anymore. The people who used to spend days and weeks grinding like one single dungeon now can't afford to do that. They all have families, they have kids, they have responsibilities. They like the most time I'm playing MMOs, I'm on in Discord chat with people, there's constantly sound of people's like I'm in hardcore guilds. People have kids running in the background, and every now and then they gotta stand up and go take care of their children. It's just not the same anymore. Some like I've had people who have their kids strapped to their chest and playing, and you can constantly hear every time the kid cries and stuff. Like they try, but it's just like they're only human. They are only human. You cannot expect these people to grind 18 hours a day and take care of their crying infant. It's just not possible. Unless, especially if they have a wife who is also a responsible human being who will be like, hey, honey, get your ass off that game right now. You know, you've been playing for 12 hours straight, right? Like, you really need to help me out here. So it's just, and they have a full-time job. It's like, how can you do it? How can you? It's not possible. That's why the MMORPG genre has changed. They had to change. They had to evolve to fit their core player base's needs. And what are those? Less playtime, more like daily login, 1 to 2 hours maybe, and if you want to play 3-4 hours and grind out certain things, you should be able to do so. You can progress that way, but otherwise, you should be able to play 2 hours and you should be okay to log off. Any more than that, it's too much of a commitment, right? Lord of Sloth says, I don't like how MMO feel like a full-time job. Yeah, like old MMOs do feel like a full-time job. You got guild commitments like on Wednesdays and Saturdays. You got like huge guild raids, and then you got PvP tournaments like for the rest of the week. And on top of that, you gotta farm your daily dungeons. You gotta like, and then a new raid drops. You gotta like get huddled together with your Discord. It's like a full-on boardroom meeting where your guild master is like, okay, so this boss's mechanics, once it gets to 360 bars of health, it's gonna do this, and then once it gets down to 325, remember this, don't worry, we'll have 2 different squad captains calling out each roles, and we'll be like, it's just like you're actually sitting there. It's like you're in freaking class, or you're in a boardroom meeting, you're taking notes, and then the guild master's like, if you have any questions, make sure to go watch this guide, right? Like, make sure to like blah blah blah, like study up on the mid-fight mechanics, and once the boss gets down to 10 bars of health, that's when you cannot make a mistake. If you die when the boss has 10 health, guess what? The whole party wipes, right? It's just like, it's so damn intense. And then like when you go in, you cannot execute it perfectly the first time. So, and each run takes like 1.5 to 2 hours, and then you end up spending 8 hours, and you still haven't cleared it. Your guild master is having a freaking aneurysm. They're about to freaking smash their monitors, and they're just screaming at everybody. Sure, you know, like to some people that sounds like a hell of a lot of fun. Oh my god, like finally a challenge. But to most people, I haven't really been able to sit through an 8-hour raid without at least the party switching out like 2 or 3 times. Just people have to go. They have commitments. They planned out 2 hours for this raid. Well, guess what? We couldn't do it first try. They have to leave now. It's just, that's the MMO experience. That's like the true MMORPG experience. Nowadays, it's a very watered down version. Listen, I'm not some boomer here saying like, oh, look at the good old days. No, those are not the good old days. Those were stressful days. Those were days of sleepless nights, chugging down Red Bulls, trying to beat a freaking pixel, beat a boss to have a chance of dropping this rare drop, which you don't even get for most of the time. Okay? So it is not the good old days. Some people would really want that kind of stuff back, but let's be honest here, the new generation, people who were born like in the 2000s. Listen, if you were born in the year 2000, you're turning 23. You're 22 years old right now. Can you guys imagine that? People who were born in the year 2000 are 22 years old. It's crazy. Birdie says, I'm 2001. Yeah, so you're 21, right? You're 21 years old. Birdie, like your generation lives a very fast-paced lifestyle. You guys are constantly juggle so many things. There's so many things for you to do and explore. It feels terrible to even ask your generation to be tied down by one single thing. I've realized that people born in like past post 2000s, they're constantly doing multiple things at the same time. They can multitask better than people from the previous generation. Some of you guys can't, but I just noticed like they're constantly doing something. They're always like they can't stay still. They always need some sort of stimulation. And MMOs just don't provide that anymore. And of course, like for people who were born in that era, you should take full advantage of what you have available to you. I think it's really smart of people who are like you guys are trying to do so many things at the same time. It's a luxury that I mean, it's a latent ability. I feel like it's like a passive talent that you guys were just born with. It's like a trait. You know, if this were an MMORPG, you guys were born with a special trait that the people who were born in the 1990s don't really have. Like some people are special. Well, the vast majority of people I've known, like, or 1980s, 1970s, like they don't. They really are. But the thing is, have you guys noticed people born in like the 1970s, 1980s, they can really focus on a task really well. Imagine like just sitting there and like doing something for 4, 5, 6 hours and just not even taking a break. Like these people, they're like absolute tanks. Moonlight says Walrus ready tomorrow. Is it tomorrow for the live stream? I thought the live stream was 1800. Oh no. I mean 1980s. Friday. Yeah, I thought it was Friday. But yeah. All in all, I want to tell you guys, you know, these games are great. I think a lot of these games that are coming out, not Punishing Great Raven, the Wuthering Waves, is coming out maybe 2023, maybe 2024. But you know, these new games are always exciting. I've been playing Genshin for 2 years and counting. I can see myself playing all the way to Shiznaya and you know Conria or whatever. But what about after that, right? Like how much of like my interest will still be captivated by Genshin Impact? Who knows? But yeah, I'm gonna have to end the stream early today. Yeah, I thank you guys all for tuning in. Thank you to Huanglei for the gifted memberships, and thank you to everybody for sticking around. As you guys can see, got some new layout, got some new font. I've adjusted my microphone here. Hopefully, my voice is cleaner. I don't know how to explain it. Pink Lab says, yeah, I'm listening to Walrus as I'm writing my PhD thesis. You see, that's what I'm saying. It's pretty impressive how people have this ability. Unfortunately, I just don't. I can focus on maybe 1, 2 things at best, and if 2 things, one of them is really taking a hit. Right? Tribute Asylum says streams are always great. Thank you. It's mostly just conversations. I'm gonna have to cut the stream early just a little bit. I have some things I have to take care of. But I hope to see you guys on Friday. Get excited for Friday because 3.4 Alhaitham. Let's see how much is accurate. I want to see those rerun banners. I'm pretty sure Hu Tao's one of them because people just keep asking about Hu Tao. But apart from that, let's see about 3.5 as well because after the thing, they usually drop 3.5 once 3.4 drops. So, yeah. Thank you guys so much. Love y'all. Let's see what Moonlight said on Discord. Yeah, just okay. All right. So, yeah, until next time, urge you all to stay safe. Peace. Good night.